Yesterday I mentioned that teaware can take on new meaning for us as we start a collection of pieces that we particularly like and that sort of feel good in our hands, or that we inherit family heirlooms, that we receive gifts from other people, or that we travel and pick up teaware that reminds us of some of our great trips. This set is both of the two latter. It was a gift from some of the other people that worked with my son in the Peace Corps in China, but it's a great memory of my trip there to see him and also to visit a new area of tea growing in China. The tea I'm going to brew today is from the northernmost growing region in the world. It's in Shan Dong Province, just south of Beijing, a much more northern latitude than any of the other well-known growing regions. It was so hard to find the tea. The tea is grown there in such limited quantities that I was able to get some in one shop in their entire tea market, and one when I went out to the research garden and took my tour out there. So this is the one I chose is a green tea. And the difference, I think, that I want to focus on today between the Asian style teaware and tea service and Western style is not only the size of the teapot and the size of the cup and the green tea leaf and the fact that in Asian tea service you almost never sweeten the tea, but it's also in this one other little bit of the Asian tea service, which is warming the pot with a little bit of water prior to serving, and then using some of the water that we warm the teapot with to warm the teacups before we serve the tea. So now this teapot is empty except for the heat and a little bit of moisture, so that when I add the leaves that I've pre-measured, their first introduction to moisture is very limited and they're warmed gradually. What I like to do is to actually sort of shake them up and let them actually what they do is kind of stick to the sides of the pot, but they start to release some of the aromas. This is true not just of green teas, but of all tea. And that's one of the steps that starts to make me focus on tea, sort of more of a meditation. When I introduce the water to the leaves, not boiling water for green tea, I pour it in gently with a thin stream so that it sort of roils the leaves around in the pot and greets them gently. And by putting the lid back on the teapot, I trap some of those aromas so that I get that next great burst of the smell of this fresh green tea. And with this, I also don't use a long steeping time. I don't want this tea to be the kind that I pull all the flavor out in one infusion. I want to do it gradually. So I'm going to serve this now, empty my teacups, and I only put enough water in with these leaves and enough leaves to make a very small serving rather than a big mug. And I love the way that I've had tea served to me in China, where 4 cups are set out, and gradually all of the tea that's been brewed in this setting is poured off, so that each of the cups is equal, and that all of the water is removed from the leaves. Now, I'm not trying to make this sound complicated, though it might, if it's the first time you've ever seen this. I'm just showing a difference. And we can talk, in the next few days with a couple of other Asian-style teapots and tea services, it might become a little more clear. But this amount of tea is, say, 3 to 5 good sips rather than a big mug. And each sip, because the flavor is so gentle, if you stop and think about it, if you let yourself appreciate it, you'll realize that even in the cooling process, this tea changes flavor. So that my first sip, where it's still almost too warm, I taste that in a certain part of my mouth. A few minutes later, I'll sip again, maybe wait and talk with a friend, and then sip another, the end of the cup, when it's almost cool. And when I do that, then I'm exercising my senses, I'm exciting my senses, and I'm fully appreciating the tea. So I'm going to put a couple of links up about the Lao Shan tea. What you might recognize is, actually, is the major city that's in the area around the farm and with this tea market is called Qingdao, which is better known for beer than it is for tea. But because of these beautiful waters that come from the mountains in this area, the Lao Shan mountains, the beer was thought to be exceptional. And it's actually contributing quite a bit to the appreciation for these teas. When I was there was, in the research center, they were also creating new strains that are going to thrive in the more northern climates and colder climates with shorter growing periods. So it'll be interesting to watch this and go back, say, in 5 years and see what originally were small experimental farms now grow into plantation size gardens. And there is one, I do know of one company in the United States that imports this Lao Shan tea. So I'll give you the link for that too. It's verdant tea. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.